Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. It is a brand new year, so I thought I would go over 10 movies that I would love to see come out on 4K in 2024. With 2023 now behind us and a ton of great 4K releases that came out this past year, I thought I would look ahead to 2024 and see what we could possibly be getting on the 4K formats. There are a lot of significant anniversaries for some really cool films that celebrate this year. So I don't know. I found that with catalog titles, a lot of the studios like to embrace significant anniversaries. So there's going to be a lot of these on this particular list. Now, this list is not in any particular order, so my number one is not a number one. It's just 10 movies that, off the top of my head, I think possibly could come to 4K this year. But I do, as always, encourage you to write in the comment section below, what would you like to see make the 4K format in 2024? All right, let's get started. I will say this past year or two, horror has really started to come into its own on 4K. We've gotten some really significant titles. I mean, this past year we saw The Exorcist finally make the jump to 4K. The Exorcist 3 came out from Shout Factory right about a year or so ago. And there are a ton of great horror-related movies that are now making the jump. Whereas it was kind of shied upon to just give the horror films a Blu-ray release, but apparently horror sells. So for my first pick, I would love to see the American remake of The Grudge on 4K, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar. Now, if you're going to be asking in the comments, why not the Japanese original, Ju-on, The Grudge? It's because it's already on 4K. Arrow Video released it in the United Kingdom last year, and while only the first film is on 4K, it's still a really nice looking transfer. So let's go ahead and make the remake happen. I really enjoy the film. Typically remakes I'm not a big fan of, especially when they get into the horror genre. But I enjoy this one. I just watched it recently this past year, and it still holds up incredibly well. And I think it would make for a really decent 4K. So maybe, depending on who has the rights, I might be Sony. I could easily see them jumping into this one in 2024. Sticking with the horror theme, and this is more or less probably going to be a long shot of a wish list item, but who knows, stranger things have happened. M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense is just conspicuously absent on the 4K format, and of course we all know who owns the rights to that one. But if any indications are coming true that Disney is going to be outputting more physical media in the coming year, maybe they will finally make this one happen. I would love a 4K edition of The Sixth Sense. I think Disney's release of Unbreakable on 4K was really spot on. It looked great. So I would feel M. Night Shyamalan's most famous film make the jump to 4K. Once again, it's horror. It's really good. It's creepy. And maybe we could even hope for an Atmos upgrade. I mean, that would be probably amazing. But The Sixth Sense is definitely a wish list item, but I'm hopeful maybe we'll see it in the new year. This next one has been a long requested item on my personal wish list, and I know a lot of people would agree. And I believe it is celebrating a milestone anniversary next year. So I think The Mask starring Jim Carrey would be fantastic. And especially if they upgrade the audio mix. Could you imagine what an Atmos soundtrack would do for this film? You get the crazy antics and powers of Jim Carrey's character. It would really be pretty fantastic audio-wise. And a nice visual upgrade, I think, would be great. I think HDR would look fantastic on this film. It's very colorful and bright. So I am a big fan of the movie. I still pull out the Blu-ray every other year or so. And let's make a 4K of this one happen. I know it would sell well. And I think a lot of people would agree with this pick. Going back to horror for a moment, so many great horror franchises have made the leap to 4K. You have Friday the 13th film that made the jump. Hellraiser, Michael Myers, pretty much all of his films are on 4K, minus the Rob Zombie films. Chucky is on the format. But where, oh where, is Freddy Krueger? 1984's Nightmare on Elm Street is begging for a 4K release. And I think, based off of no knowledge whatsoever, this is something that could definitely be up Shout Factory or Scream Factory's alley, and maybe it's being prepped for 4K this year. I have been wanting these films on the 4K format for a long time. I know a lot of people feel the same way. The Blu-rays are just horribly dated at this point, and they need some TLC, and it would sell very well. I mean, we've done Michael Myers a lot, so let's leave him alone. Let's focus on Freddy going forward, and if it's not Shout Factory, Scream Factory, whoever has the rights, let's make this one happen. Back in November of this past year, Sony released a 4K of Gran Turismo, and it just made me remember that a good racing film on 4K can not only benefit from a visual upgrade, but audio as well, especially the audio. So this is a little bit of a twofer. Steve McQueen starring in Bullet, and Ron Howard directing Rush, starring Chris Hemsworth, I think would both make fantastic 4K releases. Just go ahead and bump up the visuals, give it a nice layer of HDR, but do not shy away from any possible audio upgrades because, wow, I think both of these films would be fantastic audio-wise. More so Rush because it's a more recent film, but Bullet, I think, also would benefit as well. I would love both of these movies to come out on 4K. Maybe we'll see it happen in 2024. One can hope. Going back to an anniversary again, this next one just recently got a box set from Shout Factory of all the films, but with 1984 being the anniversary of the original Police Academy, I have been wanting an upgrade of this one for years. This is still one of my all-time favorite classic comedies. It is a fantastic movie. It's a lot of fun. And I think with 2024 now, it's a great time to make a 4K release, at least of the first film. I wouldn't mind the first four, to be honest. Make the first movie into 4K. I think a lot of people would buy it. I know when it comes to comedies, typically we don't get a lot of 4K releases, but classic ones like this, I think we can make an exception. So Police Academy on 4K, let's absolutely look into this one, whoever has the rights for it. So hopefully we'll see it soon. You know, once upon a time, even some classic films ventured into the disaster movie genre. You know, today, I mean, we see it all the time. But if you want some earlier examples of this, and I think would make for an awesome 4K, the Towering Inferno, I would buy this one in an absolute heartbeat because it's not only classic cinema, it's got some great visuals. And when you give that nice rich layer of an HDR or some kind of Dolby Vision, I think it would look fantastic. I would also not say no to an audio upgrade. Big fan of the film. I think classic cinema definitely has its place on the format. In fact, I would even say it's better than a lot of modern films as far as upgrade potential. So the Towering Inferno on 4K, hopefully we'll see it in the new year. This next one, I have a sneaky suspicion we will finally see on 4K. It has been a long requested 4K for many of these videos, and I know a lot of people would agree, and I think it's going to happen. Twister from Warner Brothers, with the not remake reboot coming out this year, I think a tie-in is natural. This is probably the closest we're going to get to a sure bet on this list, but I feel that Twister, especially if you give it a nice upgrade visual, and let's not forget the Dolby Atmos, because if you put anything less than an Atmos on this, there's probably going to be rioting in the streets. But I'm pretty confident we're going to see Twister in 2024. I have no basis of information or anything like that, but I think that it is likely to happen, and we can finally put this title off a wish list and onto our shelves. This next one, I am pretty confident, once again, that it is coming out in 2024. It is the 70th anniversary. And with the recent release of a lot of famous Christmas movies in the past couple of years, White Christmas is, I feel, probably the last major classic Christmas film to not arrive on 4K. So I don't have any information on this, of course, but I'm pretty certain if I were a betting man, I would absolutely bet that White Christmas comes out. Classic cinema, beautifully shot, a good musical. There's a lot to enjoy in this film, and I would just absolutely love to add this to the collection. And, you know, after this one, we can kind of maybe focus on some more modern Christmas films on 4K. But White Christmas, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen at least, the very least, by the end of 2024. When you think of classic cinema and you bring up movies that have such an epic nature and scope, films like Spartacus, which got a 4K release a couple of years ago, and the Ten Commandments. Another title that has not really been, made known to be arriving on 4K, but I'm thinking it is because it is, once again, another significant anniversary, BenHur. I think this might be the year we finally see this one arrive on 4K. I am a big fan of this film. It is such a grand, epic kind of movie. It looks gorgeous. I think the Blu-ray is really nice, so it can only improve upon that with a 4K release. Once again, I would not say no to an upgraded audio mix. It's not a requirement, but that would be nice. But at least put the audio that's originally included with the film on it for purists. But I think a 4K release of BenHur would absolutely be a bestseller. And I'm pretty sure 2024 is finally going to be the year. So those are some movies that I would love to see arrive on the 4K format in 2024. I'm hopeful that at least some, or if not all of this list will be fulfilled in the coming year. That would be fantastic. But now it's your turn in the comments section to let me know what your personal 4K wish list is for the coming year. Sound off down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.